say that the United manager joins us now. Ruben, congratulations. You've taken Manchester United to a European final in your first season in charge here. How does it feel to have got the job done?
It's the least we can do for these fans, for all the support that they gave us in this tough season. But I'm stressed already because of the final. Because if you don't win it, in the end, it's nothing. So we are happy to be there. Let's see it.
You can hear that so many of these fans at Old Trafford have stayed behind to cheer you, to sing your name. I know you still find this a little bit uncomfortable, don't you?
Yeah, of course, because
they love you.
I know, but I can see that I should do being better manager at this moment. The team should be better at this moment, but we are trying, and I think we did quite well in Europe. We struggle a lot in Premier League, so let's see.
You were comfortable coming into this second leg because of how well you did out in Bilbao last week. But you said it yourself yesterday when we spoke to you that anything can happen in these games. What was the thinking when you made those substitutes? What were you asking of those players that you brought on?
First of all, is the energy. I feel that some players like Nus, we can rest Mazraoui, but you feel it, he has no energy in this moment. Then Ahmad give us that spark that you need to change games, and that helps us a lot because we can change with Garner. Sometimes we let Garner there because he's the only one can stretch the game. Mason Mount, I'm so happy for Mason Mount. He's such a player. He works really hard. He has quality. I really like Kobe Maino. Just 10 minutes, but everything he did was really good. So sometimes you are on the bench and you change the game.
That is something you've not had all season, really, is it? Just at the right time coming towards the end of the season, it looks like you're getting your better players fit to come on the bench. You've had a lot of young kids on the bench that you've had to call on. Now you've got the likes of Ahmad, who I thought made a big difference, and obviously Mason Mount, so pleased for him. Obviously played in my position, attacking midfield player, but there's so many injury problems. You must be so pleased for him.
Yeah, it's different. When we have a full squad, you can think about the game, and sometimes we had some games that we are surviving, trying to push one or another player, changing position, but with more options you can change the game, you can push forward, then push back again, and these kind of things help us to win games.
Thing is as well, Mason is quite a natural in that position, isn't he? He's good with his back to the game as well. I think we've all played him, we've had injuries, but to see him come and score 2 goals like this is what it's about, I think, as a player, isn't it?
Yeah, it's important for every player, but when you see that kind of guy working hard every day, eating well, resting, ice bath, he does everything. When you have this kind of player, you just want to help them, and then the quality that he has, like you said, he's perfect for that position because he can be a midfielder, he can run like a winger, he can play with his back for the goal. So I'm really happy for him.
What's your record like in finals, Ruben?
I started quite well in the beginning of my career.
As a player?
As a player, I just had one. I lost that one, but I'm confident that will change.
First European final as a manager.
Yeah,
correct?
Of course. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah,
How does that feel for you?
In the moment, I'm just worried about the next game because to try to manage everything, not to get injuries for the final. But again, we need to win it. If we don't win it, it's nothing. Means nothing for us. So let's see.
You've lost 3 times. Sorry to remind you, you've lost 3 times against Tottenham, who you will be playing.
We're trying to be positive here.
And just bringing the facts out. What's going to be the difference in the final?
First of all, you have to think if you think in the odds, it's hard for the club to lose 4 times in a row. So we have that. We can think that way. I think we have to have full squad. That is really important, and we need to study the game quite well, and then we need to have a little bit luck because today you felt we suffered a goal, but we had so many transitions to score a goal. We didn't score. We have to be clinical in that game.
Do you see similarities in the seasons that Manchester United and Tottenham have had, in that they've been disappointing in the league campaign, but now both of you have this huge opportunity to salvage something from your season? It's all or nothing now. European football, Champions League football next season, and a trophy.
I think it's quite similar, even for me and Ange. it's quite similar. It's a tough moment. One of us is going to win, but it's going to be, I think, a big final, and we are going to try to win.
You've had this connection with these Manchester United fans now. They're so excited. They're booking their flights. I don't know if there's even any left because it's so difficult to get out to Bilbao from Manchester. But to be there with your fans and lift a first trophy for Manchester United, that would be special for you.
It's going to be... It's hard to describe what is to be a manager in this kind of club. And you want to give something to them because we were so disappointed during the season in Premier League. It's more important to give something to them than to put something in my sheet as a winner. So that's it. I think I talk for every player in that dressing room. We want to give something to our fans.
Well, thank you for talking to us. Congratulations, you've made it to the final, and we'll see you in Bilbao.
Good luck. Thank you.
Good luck.
We look forward to it. 21st of May, Manchester United will be playing Tottenham in the Europa League final, Owen. What is Bilbao going to be like with all those English fans out there desperate to see their side win that trophy?
But first of all, I just want to say what an amazing communicator he is, Ruben, honestly, in such a tricky spell for the club and for himself, and to be as brutally honest as he is all the time. And you just want to see him do well. Like Mason Mount, for Ruben Amarim, it's been tricky. It's probably anticipated going a little bit easier, but they can finish it off with, winning a European trophy in his first one ever as a manager. And they can get Champions League football. So it could be an absolute amazing finish to the season. But I just love how he talks about his team, the care that he has for his players. But he knows ultimately at the top he played. This club especially is about trophies, and they have a huge opportunity in a down season to win one of the biggest ones.
You can't help but feel happy for Ruben Amarim.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can see the obvious disappointment in the Premier League. That's there for all of us to see. But it's the history of this club. It's a history of winning trophies all the time. Even in these bad years that we're having, they're still going League Cup finals, 2 FA Cup finals, winning the FA Cup last year. They've got this Europa League final. And I'm not saying they'll win it, but history tells me they've got a great chance of winning it. We know Tottenham have beat them 3 times, and Tottenham are a really good team. I like Tottenham, and if Tottenham watch that first 70 minutes, Tottenham will think we've got a right chance here. But for some reason, the history of this club, it's almost like Real Madrid at times, when they're not playing that well, but they can still go on and win European Cups. I just feel the odds are slightly in Manchester United's favour, although I do think Tottenham are a good side.
Energy's so different around this team right now. I know it's been a tricky season, but the positivity before the game, they had a little tricky spell during the game, and then the positivity at the end. I think about Ahmad coming back fit, he looked brilliant. Mason Mount being fit, Højlund getting a goal, Casemiro coming back into the side and being influential. It feels like time is right for this Manchester United team, but obviously Ruben made a great point. Everything's at stake for both teams, and it's going to be a fascinating final. I can't wait.
It really is. We cannot wait. 21st of May, but don't go anywhere because we're still sticking.
I think he's a clever player, so Diallo coming on adds that intensity and that injection of speed, which creates space around the pitch, and he's a player then that can find it, and technically he's fantastic. There's 2 goals are brilliant and technically, and a really good night from him. And I think he's an important player for United, and I think Gary said it earlier, if he's fully fit, he starts in the Man United team.
Yeah, and isn't that a good problem to have for Ruben Amarim? And also when you look at the likes of Casemiro, didn't have his best game ever tonight, Gary, but he still scored.
He affects the game. That's the thing, what he does, and we've seen it throughout this run, that when they've needed someone to do something, and he's brilliant this run. He does it so often that I'm at a loss why the defenders don't know it. Just look at the role of Lindelof, number 2. He just gets in front of the marker, blocks the path and creates it for Casemiro. And he got his luck because it looks like it comes off his shoulder. But if you keep making runs into those areas, you will influence it and you may well get on the end of it, and he got his reward.
He did, and he needed that goal because overall, John, tonight his performances weren't where they were in the last couple of games. We talked about Casemiro really influencing the play of late. And, tonight it probably wasn't there fully. Yeah, it was loose and he got exploited a lot in the first half in particular. I suppose the start of the second half a little bit too, but he's popped up with some very important goals. Took responsibility, obviously got his yellow card as well, and obviously as soon as that happens, I think the manager
like he spots it, he has to take him off as quickly because he's going to get exposed again. So, but in fairness to him, he stood up and was countered when needed.
He actually got exposed because of the fact that Ugarte was just vacating midfield and leaving Casemiro. We know at this stage he can't cover that space on his own. It's probably why Amarim made the decision to get Ugarte off and get Mount on there for a bit more energy and legs, because Mount is great technically, but he's just as good off the ball, isn't he, in terms of how hard he works with the team.
Yeah,
really
and the impact that they had. And Diallo and Mount, they were all... It had an impact really for Hoyland's goal. It was a tap in, Richard, but he got a goal.
Yeah, and I think as well those players coming on sort of gave a freedom to this guy, to Lenny Yoro as well. He starts striding up the pitch, finding spaces as well, having that bit of adventure about him. And there was movement and there was a bit of dynamic football from Man United, and Hoyland was in the right place at the right time, I suppose, and he tried to miss it, but he got it in. Yeah. But yeah, United want to play dynamic football. They want to be high intensity, high pressing football, but they don't have the players until Diallo comes on, and then you can see that they have that little bit of speed. They have something different than what they'd shown for the 60 or 70 minutes beforehand, and a fantastic goal.
Yeah.
And I'm sure the
and
selfie
Gary had
celebration.
3-1. Were you disappointed then seeing that fourth one go in? Prediction out the window.
I was at that stage, but then not for the quality of the finish. It was brilliant from Mount in terms of it? Yeah, how good he was, and delighted. You could see even in that interview afterwards how much it meant to him. And we've all been there in times when you're struggling through injuries, and they're hard times and that. So seeing him back and fit is great. And I mean, that touch first of all, but then the quality to execute that, it's just fantastic play.
Yeah, the detail on it, that's first the control, yeah, he's stretching a little bit, but then the confidence, and I think that tells you as well how kind of fit he's feeling almost, and the freedom, obviously getting the goal he did get, and then having that confidence to do that. Great finish, left foot, great low fizzer.
Yeah, and you can see Ruben Amarim, he's delighted there. He's delighted to see Mount getting 2 goals tonight, and as we talked about, he could be a real option now to start in the final.
Yeah, we were just talking in the studio, and John was saying about when Amarim first came in, he was the player he was most excited about playing or training with. And it's taken him this long to get him fit, but he shows the quality that he's got, and he adds something different that United have missed for most of the season. So having that strong squad back available is brilliant. It means obviously there'll be some disappointed people. But Tottenham have their squad back as well. They're as strong as everything, so it makes for a really good final.
Yeah, it's great. And we have to give credit as well to Ruben Amarim and making the changes when he did. He wasn't happy what was going on. He made the changes, and straight away, we saw impact, John.
Yeah, listen, Gary mentioned it. I think it was Ugarte. They tried a little tight pass again. The game's on a kind of tender edge, tender hooks, and then brilliant, make the decisions. But that intensity already. Listen, Ahmed comes on, speed. Defenders are backing off. Obviously, Richard mentioned Mason Mount gets a bit more space because of that. Defenders are backing off. Quality finish. And listen, strength and depth is needed all throughout the season, but especially when you have a final. That's what I mentioned. He's not at the level of Lamine Yamal, don't get me wrong, but he's having that impact for Manchester United. And that's the thing. The players are all looking for him as soon as he comes on the pitch. They want to give him the ball. It's not the case with some of the other players.
The volume in the ground just went up as soon as he got the ball, didn't it? The excitement. You could tell that something was going to happen with him, and fantastic.
When you compare him and Garnacho, it's like Garnacho and him have the same sort of attributes. And this might sound really bad, but Garnacho looks like he doesn't know what's going to happen next. Whereas Diallo was in full control of what he's doing. Yeah. He knows exactly where he wants to go, where's his pass, what's his options all the time. And another player who's been missing for long periods of the season, but coming back just at the right time.
Do Mount and Diallo both start in the final, John?
I think the manager will find it very hard not to. But I think it's that balance of the game changers for him and how the game's going to approach. I think that'll be a key, because if you're thinking, right, do I bring a Garnacho on to get me back in the game or win the game, or do I bring an Ahmed on to win me the game? So
it's all about having that impact. You almost need to have that impact off the bench. And only certain players, not all players can do that.
You have players now that they're termed closers, aren't they, in terms of seeing out the game, whether it's protecting it or something. And this could go a long way. That Tottenham have had the better of United, but this is a United team that was the underdog against Newcastle in the League Cup final, the underdog against City in the FA Cup final. They get to finals. Tottenham ain't been there for 17 years.